Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rich Sports Talk. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. It is the middle of June, and the New York Jets still continue to make headlines. Thank you all for joining us on the program today. We have a lot to talk about. Where is Aaron Rodgers, Haason Reddick's contract, and a lot more. Thank you all for joining us. If you're new to the channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe. And if you're joining us throughout this video, you can always reach out during the live chat. We will answer your questions. And of course, if you're joining us after the video and you have good questions, please put it in the comments and we will get to it as soon as possible. So there's a lot to talk about over 2 days. And to be honest with you, I was going to do a recap of OTAs, focusing more on the players. But of course, there seems to be a lot of drama in the media. The New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers isn't at mandatory OTAs. Haason Reddick's contract, he's not there. He's not there. They're in a contract dispute. It's the end of the Jets world. Take a piece from Aaron Rodgers' playbook. RELAX. Relax. I know it's tough, Jet fans. I know it's tough to relax. I know it's tough to trust the process, but relax. There is a whole lot to talk about. And let's start with the first thing, the Haason Reddick contract, which is pretty interesting because I do think it was pretty funny how this really got blind hand. And look, I think the biggest problem that the Jets have run into is that the Jets didn't exactly help their case. And I want to start this off by addressing a certain someone, Robert Saleh. Look, Robert, I think Jet fans, we generally like you. We do have respect for you. There's a lot we wish you were better at. But if there's one thing you could really work on in between now and training camp, I mean, the Jets are also going to be on prime time this year, so it'd probably be a good thing to do. Work on public speaking, because the way you phrase things, especially in the New York market, and especially with all those reporters in that room, if something's kind of taken out of context or something isn't normal, they're going to jump on it. And because since you're the Jets and you have Aaron Rodgers and you're in New York, it is going to blow up. And I hope this is a learning lesson for you, Robert, because you could have easily avoided a lot of this. All you had to say was the following. Yeah, I've been in contact with Haason Reddick. When you say, no, we haven't heard from it at all. You think Jet fans who are already a bit paranoid going to take that well? No. And then also with Aaron Rodgers, it's an unexcused absence, which it technically is, but it took you till today to reiterate, well, no, he's been planning this. We were aware of this, and everyone in our building is fine with this. You could have led that off with yesterday saying, yeah, he's not here, but he had planned this. Yes, he's not here, but that was part of the reason he was here for voluntary OTAs, because he knew he wasn't going to be here for the 2-day of mandatory OTAs. That's all you had to do. And then this story is what it really is. It's a non-story. So, Robert, if you could do us all a favor for Jet fans, like, we like you. Trust us. We want to see you succeed. We want to believe in the best of you. But you have to work on how you phrase things, because this isn't the first time. The way you have worded your sentences, and I know it's tough, being in a room in front of God knows how many people, day after day, they're grilling you on everything. They're coming at you with a million questions. You're trying to be very particular because you know every answer you give could be blown out of context. Case in point. So I wanted to get to the Reddick contract because this was, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my God, oh my God. And look, I don't think Reddick's going to be there. And I agree with the way the Jets are handling it. I think that they view this as a one-year deal. Worst case, he's here for 1 year and they get a comp pick back for him. I don't think it's the end of the world. But it is interesting because an hour ago, we heard from Mr. Reddick on his Twitter account, the first time he has tweeted in about 2 weeks. And funny enough, it's not that bad, Jet fans. And for everyone in the media that was saying that this is horrifying, this is terrible. So Haason Reddick, where we've been hearing for the last 24 hours, oh, the Jets and Haason Reddick, it's terrible. There's bad blood. Haason Reddick from his official Twitter account at Haason7Reddick. Stop believing the foolery y'all see on these social media apps and news outlets, running crazy narratives, and y'all eating it up. Not my words, the words from Reddick. And here's a fun little game let's play. Let's play the hold out bingo card, everybody. Are you ready to play the game? Here's how, if there's bad blood in negotiation, let's see how a player in the NFL would usually react. And here's how it usually goes. Great example. Saquon Barkley, just across town, when he was in his contract dispute, here's what the players usually will do. The first thing they'll do, they will change their profile picture of them not wearing their team's jersey. Then they will change their subject line or their description to not be affiliated with that team. Then they will unfollow everything on social media having to do with their own team. And, Haason Reddick's in that edit of himself in the Jets jersey. For someone that's supposedly pissed and not happy about the current contract situation, even Robert Saleh said, Haason's one of the last people we're worried about. And here's another little thing, guys, who are panicking. You know what's good? Guess who's getting more reps? Will McDonald, these young defensive linemen, because Reddick probably doesn't need them like they do. It's going to be okay. I know it's tough, and I know the world loves to put forward this narrative that basically everything is doom and gloom in Jet fans. And I know until it changes, it doesn't change. But this is June. The way I look at this, it's one of the slowest times of the year for sports content. In this industry, we are desperate for content. There is a big lull this time of year, especially once the NBA Finals go off the air. There really isn't a lot to talk about really until the start of training camp. This summer has actually given national media a bit of a cookie because of the whole Caitlin Clark situation. That has given national media something that they can talk about, and it's probably going to be a really big subject as we head into the summer months. But this, for sports media that loves NFL news, saw this and ran with it. I don't think it's that big of a story. Now, do I think the Reddick contract could get a little bit tricky? Potentially. But the way I see it is both parties don't necessarily have to get a deal done. And look, Reddick's not an idiot. Reddick understands when he made this trade, this was a one-year deal. Now, do I think the Jets and him, would they like to eventually bang out a long-term deal? I do think both parties would like that to happen. But Reddick also understands, too, he's going to be 30 at the end of the season. If he goes out there and has 10.5 sacks for the Jets, is a disruptive pass rusher, and helps the Jets get to the playoffs, he has a chance to make a boatload of money in free agency because he's a pass rusher, an elite one, and they don't make a lot of those, and they're not easy to find. So I think he's going to play this year. Now, could the Jets maybe add a year to the contract? Could they maybe bump up this annual salary this year? Could they maybe add more bonuses? I do think it will be get done. The thing is, it's June. It's OTAs. And here's a fun little story. OTAs, do you happen to notice, do you know who's trying to get rid of that? Oh, yeah, it's the Players Association. They don't want these practices. Oh, and here's another little thing. And I know he's won Super Bowls, so he gets a bit of a pass. But Tom Brady missed 11 days for the Buccaneers. And no one really panicked about that. Aaron Rodgers has been there for involuntary workouts. He's been there. He's been in the facility. He's told the team. The problem is the wording. And that's why I said Robert Saleh needs to really work on his diction, because the way it came off is that when you say unexcused, the way we interpret, and I think most people interpreted that, was, yeah, he thumbed his nose at the Jets and basically said, I'm leaving for these 2 days. When in reality, he had planned this out, had told them well in advance, and they knew he wasn't going to be there. Once again, a mountain out of a molehill. Now, let us get to Mr. Aaron. I don't know where his trip is. I don't really care where his trip is. I do care that he was there for involuntary OTAs. He's been in the building. And the biggest thing for Rodgers is there is a ton of pressure on him this year. I just think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be in a position where he is motivated. He wants to prove to the world that he can come off this Achilles. That he's still a great football player. That he's still elite, and that he made the right decision for the Jets. And I get Jet fans' frustration because we have put so much time and effort into this team. We've been going on this playoff drought for so long. We want the Jets to take care of every single advantage that they can. And look, I get the frustration that Rodgers isn't there from some fans. I get that this whole mercenary thing, but it's just funny. I just see everyone in the media just absolutely eviscerating Aaron Rodgers. Where was the, hey, Aaron Rodgers is at involuntary OTAs, doesn't have to be there, and he's not there for 2 days? Is 2 days in June going to decide the Jets' future in September and October? No. Is him missing 2 days a great optic for this team? No, probably not. But the thing is, Rodgers has tried to do everything he could to get back last year. Rodgers is doing everything he can in the involuntary OTAs. If Aaron Rodgers is ready to go when training camp starts, that's all I and every Jet fan should care about. Is he ready to go for training camp, and is he ready for week 1? That is all we should care about. And look, he's someone coming off an Achilles. Maybe he could use a bit of a break, maybe a weekend where he's not out there working out on his Achilles. Maybe he just needs a little bit of a break. I mean, this is someone that we know likes to go on his own trips. We all know about the darkness retreats. We know about the activities he likes to do off the field. Again, I think a lot of this was just the language. If the Jets had just said, yeah, Aaron told us he wasn't going to be here and we were all on board, and you heard it from all the Jet players today, all the people in the facility, yeah, he's not here. It's not that big of a deal. Wherever all you heard all this is they go, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers should be ashamed of himself that he's not there. It's June 11th and June 12th. If he's not there in August, then we can have an issue. If he's not there for September, we can have an issue. It's June. And once again, guys, I know it's mandatory OTAs, but the Players Association, if you notice, they're trying to get rid of this. They think it's unnecessary. I get the frustration, but this, to me, was just something completely blown out of proportion. Again, guys, thank you, as always, for joining us here today. Let us see our comments in here. Momo Adamo. Again, guys, if you're joining us in the live stream, make sure to put your questions in the comments. Here we go. Momo Adamo. When one signs with a team, are not dollars discussed? I'm confused. Roger Winter, did we forget about Bryce Huff? Look, I think the Jets, if I'm honest, butchered the Huff situation. I think we can go down this road, Momo Adamo, for hours. I think Reddick was a good compromise. I think that the Jets got Reddick and looked at it this way. Worst case scenario, we gave up a really late future 3rd-round pick for someone that's going to help us for 1 year. And maybe because he's a similar style to our 1st-round pick, that maybe Reddick is going to be someone that could help rub off on Will McDonald, help him develop as a pass rusher. So someone that's younger takes a little bit of the pressure off of Will McDonald from being that guy right away. And look, if the Jets develop him, great. And look, I get where Momo's coming from. I get the frustration. Here's the thing. I look at it this way. The Jets butchered the situation. We don't have to go into that. I agree. I was screaming in this room that the Jets should have extended him or at the very least tagged and traded him. But we're also talking about that they got someone that's a 2-time Pro Bowl player, someone that plays a lot of games, has started every single game for the Eagles the last 3 years, and someone that can just get to the quarterback. 58 sacks, and it's had double-digit sacks the last 4 seasons. So it's not like they got a scrub here. And look, I do think that there is going to be growth here. You have Jermaine Johnson. You have someone that is a good player. Let's see. Who else? Brandon McClain. Oops, sorry. That one got a little bit there. Jeez. Brandon McClain's a good player, but at this stage, he's a third down specialist. Look, the Jets, like Bryce Huff, you can make that case. He was a third down specialist, but he's someone that can still make an impact on the game. Great burst off that edge, and someone that the Jets needed to control that edge. And look, my biggest thing with Reddick is if Reddick was out here like basically tweeting about the Jets. Oh, hold on. Okay, I have to apologize. Adamo. I'm Italian. Good to see you. I'm sorry. I love it. Momo Adamo. Momo Adamo. Adamo. Okay, I hope I'm not butchering that. I'm sorry I said Adamo. It's Adamo. Okay. Momo Adamo. Okay, I got you, man. I apologize about that, but I appreciate you letting me know. Drones is here as well, giving his comments. Again, guys, chat is open if you'd like to talk. Look, with Reddick, I think the Jets are also being smart too, because this is still a guy who I still think will Adamo. Okay, so it's like the Reed Cola, right? Momo Adamo. Momo Adamo. All right. Okay. We are doing Learn to Speak here on Rich Sports Talk today. Thank you for teaching me so much, Momo. I might just keep it a Momo just to help keep it there. So I can see Drones as being super positive. Look, the whole thing with Reddick is he's, to me, more of a mercenary player. I think that he is someone that the Jets purposely signed to help develop Will McDonald, buy them a year of a great pass rusher. And the thing, too, with the Jets, I think that they're smart not running to break the bank for multiple reasons. Number one, he's going to be 30 at the end next year. Number two, the Jets are also going to have to pay a lot of guys on their team who are younger than he is. I think that they're in the back of their mind getting ready to back up the trucks for Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, possibly Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, like guys who are younger. So, yeah, I'm over it, man. I'm watching college football. We're going to be in the top 10 again. God, I hope not. I really hope not. But I will say, if you guys don't hear from me a couple days in July, it's probably just a transition that I'm going to be playing NCAA 25 for a couple days. So if no one hears from me on this channel for a couple of days, that's the reason why you will not hear from me, is because that's why I am excited for that coming out. But look, I still think the Reddick trade isn't a bad one. I think the Jets are smart not rushing to lock him up. And look, Reddick's going to get a bag. I really just don't think it's going to be from the Jets. Now, to talk about what Momo was saying, I sound like a broken record. I still think the Jets should have handled the Huff situation right. I think that they handled it incorrectly. I hope that they lock up their young stars earlier and that they're going to learn from that situation. And look, if we're honest, hindsight's always fun 2020. If we're honest, should the Jets have locked up Huff earlier? Yes. Should the Jets have locked him up before last season? Sure. But look, Huff, you give him credit. Huff bet on himself. The Jets didn't want to overpay for someone that, again, was a very productive player, but last year really had a breakout season. and he was rewarded for it. Now, again, it's frustrating because the timing of everything with Huff didn't work out for the Jets. And the other thing, too, is if the Jets are going to lose great players, I'd rather have it be on the defensive side in a weird way, just because this staff has shown me they can develop defensive players. The hard part is the offense. I don't want to lose a guy like a Garrett Wilson or someone, because the Jets have shown they struggle developing that side of the ball, but the defensive side, they are good. When are those players going to stop changing? All right, Momo. So if I had to guess, you have a Garrett Wilson jersey. I'm trying to think what other number changes were made. Sauce is still one. My biggest thing is, especially with the rookies, don't buy the rookies until the week one of this. I know it's tough because you want to be repping it in the preseason. You know what my suggestion is, Momo? And again, maybe I'm against the grain. You know what I go offensive lineman. I go with the buffet busters because they don't change their numbers. Like, I was actually thinking this because I need to get a new Jets jersey. And everyone's like going through the names. The Garrett 5 looks nice. I love the Sauce 1. It's always classic. But you know what I was thinking? I'm like, maybe I'll just get a Joe Tippmann jersey. Not a lot of those around. That 66 looks nice. I mean, my favorite jersey is still probably my Nick Mangold. I mean, I'm curious, Momo. Put in the chat. I know Garrett's one. Where are the other 5 jersey number changes? Because now you have me in this rabbit hole. I gotta know the answer. And of course, promoting the channel, bash that like and subscribe button. The only positive is I have Jordan Travis and Tyron Smith. Man, he looks official. I'll tell you, my favorite was the video of Tyron Smith with the football. And they're like, this is an actual size football. That is a large human being. From everything we've heard, Fashanu's looking really good, exclusively working out the left tackle position. And Jordan Travis is a pick I really like. Jordan Travis is one of those players you wonder, had he not gotten hurt and played a full season and got to play in the playoff, and if he played well in the playoff, what is draft stock? I don't think Travis would have been a first-round pick, but could he have maybe gotten to a high second, third? I think there's a lot about his game. It's a bit raw, but there is something about his game where you can tell he plays and makes the big moments happen in the big time. Sorry, I'm losing the train of thought. When he makes a big play when it is needed, when it is necessary, and that's something you cannot teach. And give it a rest with the junior and senior jerseys. Okay. So I'm guessing Mekhi Becton Sr. is one of the jerseys. Yeah. Shout out Tippmann, good jersey. Yeah, 66 too. I mean, great football number, great hockey number. I mean, could one of the Jets offensive linemen, like, there's not a good 69 out there. I mean, I will say, I thought about Fashanu 74. The reason I'm a little hesitant, I don't think he's going to change it because that was his college number. But that would be another one I would look at. AVT is a good one, even though the injuries have me a bit concerned. And 75 looks nice too. I don't know. I know maybe I'm a little against the grain because people have been down on him, but McDonald at 99, just 99 is a nice number. I've always loved the number. I love symmetrical numbers on jerseys. I don't know what it is. Like 55 was my number in football, and I always loved that number 55 on a football jersey. You know, I think 33 looked great. Like, even I know people hate the player, but Jamal Adams, I thought the 33 looked really nice. 11's a great receiver number. I've always loved that. I mean, I think there's something about those symmetrical numbers. It's just something like 88 is a great receiver number. 88 is an unbelievable receiver number. Yeah, I'm almost sharing my thought on I'm on the jerseys with AVT with the health, but other news around OTAs that I thought was very interesting. Again, one of the guys that I was really high on, Eric Watts, doing very well on the defensive line, which I am thrilled to be about, and some interesting tryouts for the New York Jets. The Jets had Jakeem Grant, the former Pro Bowler returner, and another former Jet, Patrick Elflin. If you remember Elflin, back in the Adam Gase era, played a couple games. I think he could be an interesting guy. I still would love the Jets to go out there and get someone like Connor McGovern. I've been banging the table for him, but Elflin is kind of like a poor man's version of him, someone that's primarily a backup center, but can play both interior spots. And Jakeem Grant, another interesting one, former Dolphin Baron Brown, world-class speed, unbelievable playmaker. And it's interesting because one of the Jets coaches, and I know this area of the game gets overlooked, but I think this season is going to be highly important to special teams with the new kickoff rule. And you can see the Jets, and I feel like the Jets are maybe even more ahead of this than the rest of the league, which is trying to get guys that work in this new kickoff. I mean, Tariq Cohen is a great example of someone that you look at those guys, they are guys that when they have space are unbelievably dynamic. And I think some teams have looked at the new special teams rule, but it just feels like the Jets are a bit ahead of the curve. And you have to give Boyer a lot of credit. I mean, he's one of these coaches that, again, you look at the history of the Jets, they've had great special teams coaches. And I know it's not the sexiest position. It's usually not as important as defense and coordinator, offensive coordinator, but it's one special teams is that position where if no one talks about you, you're doing a great job. And if they are talking about you positively, it means you're doing an exceptional job. With this new kickoff rule, I'm glad to see the Jets are being creative and the Jets are looking to try to take advantage of that. Now, again, I do think Cohen could be someone that, if he's healthy, has shown he's versatile out of the backfield. And it's kind of interesting, too, because you wonder one guy who keeps kind of getting pushed down the depth chart is Izzy Abanikanda, the running back, because Braylon Allen, we've heard how good he's looked. Isaiah Davis, Tariq Cohen, and Izzy got banged up in practice the other day. And look, I think the Jets would like to keep Izzy, but it's clear that they are looking for playmakers and guys who especially will do well in that kickoff return, in that punt return game. But the thing I just look at is I have to give the Jets a lot of credit here. I think it's something we are not going to be really talking about a lot until it happens, is this special teams rule. Because, again, it's such a drastic rule change that's going to take a lot of adjustment. But if you're a team that can take advantage of that early and have it worked out and figured out and practiced out, maybe you can sneak a couple of big points. I think the Jets are trying to do that. One other thing that I think a couple of interesting headlines today coming out today was, number one, DJ Reed said the ball's in the Jets' court regarding a contract extension. Reed says he loves New York, but would look forward to free agency after the year if it were open to him. Now, I've been on this channel with DJ Reed saying I'd love for the Jets to extend Reed. My biggest problem is I think the Jets have to look at the rest of the cornerback room. We know they're going to give a massive bag to Sauce. The question now becomes, what price is a good price for DJ Reed? How much is he willing to take? I think the Jets need to try to be working out some of these extensions now. But if you had to ask me today and put a gun to my head, I think the Jets' priorities are Sauce 1 and probably Michael Carter slightly above Reed. And here's the reason why. Carter is someone they've drafted, they've developed, and right now, statistically, he's the best slot corner in the NFL. Those are very difficult to find, and it is very important to control the middle of the field. As much as I love DJ Reed, he is someone that will be older than Michael Carter. He's someone that the Jets brought in from the outside, and it just feels like, if I'm honest, he would be someone that's easier to try to find a replacement for a number 2 corner than a really great slot. Now, again, you can debate me on that, but that's how I personally feel. Another very interesting development today, which some people might find interesting because I certainly do, is play calling. Today, Connor Hughes reported the following. Todd Downing, not Nathaniel Hackett, calling plays during the 2-minute drill. Salah reportedly is choosing to mix up the play callers on both sides of the ball during unscripted portions of practice. He wanted to give the coordinators and coaches different perspectives from what they normally do. Now, he said primarily during the season, Hackett will be the play caller. But I think it's pretty interesting that Nathaniel Hackett, who, let's be honest, has not been good, is a bit on the hot seat. It's clear the Jets want to basically move on from Hackett. They wanted to bring someone else into the organization. They couldn't do it. So I find it interesting that all of a sudden the Jets are preparing to have someone else call plays. Another interesting standout, too, has been Quantez Stiggers, one of my favorite picks in the Jets draft. Has looked really good. And that's another interesting thing. How good he is and how quickly he develops. Will he play safety? Will he play corner? If he looks like a really good corner, the question then becomes, going to DJ Reed, is it someone you move on from? Because again, the Jets have a lot of financial decisions. You have Garrett Wilson, you have Sauce Gardner, Reese. And as much as I love all these players, as much as I love DJ Reed, they are going to have to do that. Westhoff for president. It's a good one, Momo. Is he not getting busy? Look, Izzy is a fascinating player. The one thing I have to do more research on is the practice squad. Because again, these rules for the practice squads change so much. I think he's still someone the Jets want to keep in the organization because he's such a dynamic player and he has speed that you let's be honest, you can't teach that kind of speed. However, I do think that the Jets have made it clear that they feel that they need to upgrade the running back position. And in some ways, it's exciting. If Braylon Allen's a great running back and they're able to find diamonds in the rough, look, I understand it's frustrating that Izzy doesn't pan out, but this is the thing with the NFL draft. Not every pick is going to be a hit. Not every pick is going to be a great one. If you come out of a draft and let's be honest, your third through your seventh rounders, if you get two decent players, and I'm saying just middle of the road starters, that's still pretty good draft because basically once you're past the top 50 players in a draft, a lot of it's start throws. A lot of it's just trying to figure out who can make a roster, who can help on special teams, who can be a fill-in. I mean, if you find someone that's a starter in that group, great. You did a great job. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of guys that just, it doesn't work. Maybe Izzy's one of those guys where he doesn't get a shot with the Jets. He goes somewhere else and it works. And let's see. No way the Jets draft two backs if they're high on Izzy. Yeah. And look, Scott, I think it's apparent. I think that was one thing we learned from the draft. And that's a really good observation, Scott. And I appreciate the comment as always. And look, I always say actions speak louder than words. Coaches and organizations can tell you all they want until they're blue in the face. But what they do tells you exactly what they think. Now, when the new kickoff rules were coming out, I was thinking, maybe that is a rule for Izzy. You know, someone that's dynamic, open in space. Maybe that's a way he can sneak onto this roster. But then we know the draft, 2 running backs. And it's clear the Jets want to have a more physical power running style, it appears. They got backs that can bruise a bit, that can deliver some punishment. And Izzy maybe doesn't really fit that mold. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, well, maybe this kickoff rule, maybe he could be in the – oh, wait. They're trying out Jakeem Grant this week, and they signed Tariq Cohen. And if Tariq Cohen has juice and is healthy, maybe that's his role, that fourth running back that is a hybrid, that is the kick returner on this team. Because I was really thinking, watching these OTAs, I'm going to be fascinated to see if Izzy's back there. And from all intents and purposes, from everything I've heard, Izzy hasn't been back there. And that I thought that was the rule to make the 53. Maybe there's a situation where the Jets can trade him for another piece. And again, might be like another cast off. It doesn't fit somewhere else. But if I had to put money on it, I think Izzy probably isn't on this team this year. But again, this is the NFL. If, God forbid, Tariq Cohen goes down in training camp or someone goes down early in the season, maybe it's a situation where he's cut out there for 2 or 3 weeks, but then is brought back or he's put on the practice squad. So, but if you were asking me some of the players that I don't think are likely for the 53 for opening day, I think Izzy's got to be one of those candidates. I mean, you just look at that Jets draft class. I mean, if I had to put money on it, he's probably one of the guys from that draft class that just might not be on the team. I mean, you look right now, Carter Warren, the Jets love him. I'd be shocked if he isn't on this team. Now, could Zach Kuntz be someone on the outside? I mean, he was on the practice squad last year, potentially. Bernard Converse, maybe. So it's just one of those interesting things where, unfortunately for the Jets, I just am not sure if Izzy's going to make it. And it's frustrating because, again, it's a nice story because it's someone that was from the New York area. It's someone that you wanted to see succeed here. It's kind of like another version of Jeremy Rucker. But at the end of the day, it's some players are not just going to work out. And maybe it's one of those things that, people are frustrated. And my thing, too, is I want to get back to Aaron Rodgers for a little bit because he's taken a lot of shrapnel in the national media. And I get it. Aaron Rodgers is a player who you either really love or you really hate. But Jet fans should understand this too. Aaron Rodgers took a massive pay cut to be here. Aaron Rodgers chose to be here. And from all intents and purposes, he's trying to do everything he can. And to his credit, it seems like Aaron's also relented on a lot. Last year, they brought all his guys. Didn't work. Jets seemingly have done what they've wanted this offseason, and Aaron's been on board. So I think that a lot of people that are criticizing him not being there right now, look, do I want him there at OTAs? Sure. But am I going to be like, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers on MTAs in June, OTAs? To me, it's just one of these stories where it's a slow news cycle and it's just fodder because it's going to get clicks. Because people that don't like Aaron Rodgers are going to say, see, Aaron Rodgers isn't there. See, he doesn't care about the Jets. Even though he's taken a massive pay cut to be there, has been at every involuntary OTA. By the way, Tom Brady missed 12 days of training camp for unknown reasons in Tampa Bay. But, that's neither here nor there. Again, if you want to use the argument of the Lombardis in the cases, I get that. But still, I don't think it's that big of a deal with Aaron Rodgers. And look, I think the Reddick contract's been blown out of proportion as well. And to me, the biggest thing is what he said today. Like, if Reddick's really pissed at the Jets, do you really think his profile picture on social media would be him in a Jets jersey? It's, again, I went through it earlier in this video. The step-by-step guide for being pissed on social media at your team for not giving you a contract extension. And look, if I had to put money on that, I don't think Reddick's getting an extension from the Jets unless it's a really team-friendly deal. But the problem at that point is I don't think he's going to do that because he understands Reddick's team's telling him, look, if you go to free agency at 30 and you have a good year, some team's going to pay you a lot of money. Some team, even if it's a short contract, but there will be a team that's going to give you at least $20 million. It always happens. But there's a lot more this offseason. It'll be interesting because, again, what mountain will be turned out of a molehill with the Jets going forward? But there is a lot to talk about with this Jet team, and this is the place to talk about it. Rich Sports Talk. If you're new to the channel, give us a like, give us some subscribe so you don't miss any of our latest content. Until next time, do you have any questions for me? I would love to answer them, especially in the comments below. We talked about everything, including what jersey numbers do I think you should get as Jet fans this year? I mean, we've covered all the bases that many Jets shows don't. But again, guys, this is a community that we are trying to grow within the Jets fan base. So if you're a Jet fan or know any other Jet fans, please let them know about our channel. Send them a like, send them a subscribe. We would love to grow this channel as much as possible. And of course, if you're joining us after the live stream, don't worry. Make sure to comment below and let us know what you would like us to talk about, especially over the summer months for the New York Jets. Do you want me to do top 10 lists for the New York Jets? Do you want me to go back in history, like draft buzz, best signings for Joe Douglas? I can do those lists anytime, but I want to know what you want to hear about. So let me know in those comments below. And until next time, we will see you here on Rich Sports Talk.